She-Hulk episode 7 was a step in the right direction for this series. I thought this was way better than the other episodes so far, and I had a great time watching it. I felt there were some really good moments with Jen's character, her growing a little bit more. They teased Daredevil and it's not here yet, and that's okay. Honestly, I fully expect him to show up in the last episode for a very short scene, and then we don't see him again. Even though there is scenes of him doing detective work with She-Hulk and Matt Murdock being in a bar with her. So we'll see what happens. I also think Hulk will come back at some point right before the end of the series, especially with everything that's going on with Jen's blood. So before I get too far into spoilers, if you haven't seen the episode yet, save this video for later and come back so I don't spoil it for you. But let's get right into it. Before we get into it, I also wanted to mention from last week, Intelligentsia, when I first thought about it, I thought it was just a website. But looking more into it, honestly, it could be the group. They could just be not even hiding and saying that their group is out there and trying to gather information to figure out how to get her blood. Because the leader is one of the members of that team, there's a good chance the leader is going to be the main villain, and I highly, highly believe it. And I definitely see him coming in Captain America 4, with She-Hulk and the Hulk possibly appearing. I'm going to say this right now, fuck Josh, all the homies hate Josh. And that's how we're going to start it off. Jen goes on so many dates with Josh, and I was actually very, very happy to see her happy and having a good time, having someone that cared about her. But because I know how these things go, it was too good to be true. Because Josh ghosted her. And then we find out at the very end of the episode that Josh took her blood, took a picture of her, copied her phone, and fucked right off. Because he's working with Intelligentsia. Josh is so goddamn evil and he's doing all this stuff. And I knew it. I knew he was doing some suspicious thing. It just seemed way too good to be true and I was right. And I hate him so goddamn much. Why can't Jen be happy? Why can't she be happy for once? Why does he have to ruin it for her? But let's get into the main part of the episode with her obsessing over Josh, over every little aspect of it, trying to get a hold of him, trying to hear from him, but he's just ignoring her the whole day. When she doesn't get a hold of him, finally she gets a call from Blonsky's parole officer who needs her help to go make sure that he's not turned into Abomination. And it's funny because he's such a chicken shit. He's like so scared. I mean, I get it. Abomination's a giant monster, but he is so goddamn scared to go see Abomination. He thinks he's going to get killed. He needs Jen's help. And I like how when Jen gets there, she just drives right past him when he's opening the gate. And he's like, wait. But she doesn't care. She just goes right in. And then we get introduced to some real low C-level characters, which honestly was great. A great time. I love the introduction of like the low characters that no one really cares about or sees all the time. And it's just a really fun time. Because even though they're villains, they're presenting them as not really villains. But even in the comics, some of the lower level characters are villains, but not really. Like, they do bad stuff, but they're not bad people sometimes, which I thought was great. It was really well done, and it was really fun. We got introduced to Man-Bull. In the comics, his name is William Tarrant, a.k.a. Bull Taurus. Him and his partner, Itch, worked for Mr. Klein, who instructed them to kidnap people off the street, and their victims were test subjects for the professor. And eventually, he was stopped by Daredevil, and because of that, Mr. Klein did experiments on him that turned him into Man-Bull. So that's his comic book origin, and he even said in this that his powers came from a weird lab experiment, which kind of would go toe-to-toe. El Agulia is actually a mutant in the comics, so I'm 100% sure that we just got introduced to yet another mutant in the MCU, which is freaking great. They're slowly getting put in, and Namor's probably going to be the next one that's coming. In the comics, he was born in Spain, he kept his power hidden, and then he took the name of the swashbuckling, El Agulia. In this, that's exactly what his name was, which was pretty interesting, and they kept it. He has a bioelectricity sword, too, which was pretty cool. A mutant's in the MCU. I really hope they confirm that he's a mutant so we can just slowly get more and more mutants coming in. Then we had Porcupine, who wouldn't take off his suit. And when he did, holy shit did it smell. Everyone got mad at him for making a huge goddamn stink fest. And I thought that was pretty funny. And I like how he saw like Jen had the confidence to turn back into Jen form. So he took off his Porcupine suit and showed him who he was. And the first thought when I saw him, he really reminded me of the Roger Gawking one, the one that was friends with Spider-Woman, who became a hero in the end. However, because we never actually got his name, he could either be the Roger Gawking or it could be the original Alex Gentry. So in the comics, Roger Gawking got the suit by buying it off Hobgoblin, who was selling it, the identity and the suit after Alex died. And originally in the comics, Alex was the original bearer, just a dude in a porcupine suit. But in the comics, both of them have beards. But I didn't know that until I looked it up. And I just knew Roger because I've read him before. And the suit looks a lot like the Porcupine from the 1947 Earth. So the Porcupine was a cool character. I liked his suit. It was interesting. And he seemed like a generally good person. So maybe it is Roger. Then we had the Vampire, Saracen, who in the comics is a mercenary whose job is to hunt down the Punisher. So a little bit different. I don't think he's actually a vampire because he was standing in the middle of out in the sun without, dying. So I think he might have a vampire obsession, but he's not a vampire. So probably changed from the comics just because he's just a random mercenary who died. Because, well, if he's going after the Punisher, there's no way he's going to live. Some cool little characters. I really enjoyed it. And again, I really enjoyed Jen's part in all this because Jen was walking around trying to find the signal to talk to Josh. And all of them helped him realize that Jen was obsessing over this for no reason. And that she just needs to say, screw Josh. We don't like him. You don't need him. He's ghosting you. Delete his number. And she did. And I like how she even explains that, people like She-Hulk. She-Hulk's like the popular girl that everyone likes, but Jen's not. She has insecurities because of it, and I like that because that's exactly what we want to see. Jen sees her She-Hulk form is the form that everyone likes. She'll walk around in it. She's popular, but when she's in Jen form, she's not. And she feels bad. Like, what if no one wants her if she's in the Jen form, and they only want her in She-Hulk form? Like some of the guys she went on a date with. And I felt so bad for Jen, but I like how she's coming to the realization and learning how to be both identities. She's dealing with the She-Hulk identity and as well as being with the Jen. And I like seeing the balance come together, and I know she's going to get the confidence to be Jen and then also She-Hulk and not give a shit what other people say. I'm loving how her character has been growing this season. I know some people have complaints about it, but you see stuff here. There's subtle things, and it's working, and I like it. I really like her character. One of the wrecking crew comes out, and she goes full Hulk and just chucks him into the side and goes to kill, like beat his ass, and everyone's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop this. You can't be doing this here. And I like who even says that he's apologizing, that he felt sorry for it, but I feel like something more is going on here. Because he was working with the guy that was trying to take her blood. And he said that the magic weapon kind of boosts their ego and stuff, and that's why they were doing it. Nah, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. This episode pretty much took place on the retreat, which I liked. Blonsky retreat. It was fun. Him trying to be a different person. I 100% don't think that Blonsky's telling the truth. I think that when his power inhibitor glitched, and he said that it was because he went over electric fence. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit right now. He definitely turned into Abomination, got that thing off, and just put it back on. And this is why. I think that Val has recruited him that we have not seen yet. I'm sure we'll see in the next 2 episodes to join the Thunderbolts. So she needs him to be able to take off that inhibitor so that no one would know that he's hulked out. And what I'm thinking is going on is that they were testing the waters to see how fast they would react to go over there. So he's waiting to get the opportunity to go Hulk out into Abomination again and then go help Val because he is on loan to the government. So something's going to happen there. And also, I think that the Wrecking Crew member being there was probably to try to get Abomination's blood, but then Jen ended up showing up and that he had to change his whole persona and the way he was acting, or he was going there originally to get Abomination's blood, but he was kind of winced away and kind of learned how to be a better person by being there. So maybe he got changed from that. So I think there's other stuff going on there that we just don't know about yet. It just seemed too, like even with the Josh stuff, it's too good to be true. Something else is going on. I do think some cool stuff is going to happen in the last 2 episodes. We got Daredevil coming back. I don't think we're done with Titania. I'm sure we'll find out how she got her powers soon. And I'm hoping we see Daredevil next episode just so we can get that story over and done with so we can finish off the show. Because I think Jen needs her call to action to be a hero. Then we need to have her hero moment. And then we need her to accept being a hero. So it's like call to action, hero moment, then accepting truly being a lawyer hero. So I think what's going to happen is that next episode we'll see Daredevil. Possibly Bruce's return at the end of it. And then in the final see Bruce, Jen be heroes, stopping the people who are either taking her blood or going after and trying to figure who did it. Which could be the leader being teased in the post-credit scene of the last episode, setting up Captain America 4. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that can happen still. There's only 2 episodes. They're really short episodes. So part of me thinks that some of those episodes are going to be slightly longer than normal. Just because I feel like there's a lot of stuff they got to wrap up. They got to figure out what's going on with the Hulk. You can't just tease that shit and leave it at the end of her show. Because she even teased like him coming back in the wedding episode last week. Being like, hey, when you coming back and stuff. They set up this whole enemy thing with Titania. And we still got to see Titania come back and properly fight her. Which I think maybe she'll get a power upgrade. Maybe from someone in Intelligentsia, because Doom is also part of that group in the comics. I am really looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing how these characters interact, how they meet into the new ones, and we still get to see Frogman. Where is my Frogman? You show him in the trailers, and I have not got Frogman yet. I want to see that costume come to life. I am Frogboy. I want to see Frogman. FYI, that was an old YouTube name and gamer name I used to use once upon a time. This episode, again, I really enjoyed it. It was a step in the right direction for the show. I really hope the show does end off with like a bang, because some of the episodes did not hit for me, but most of them did. And I've enjoyed it so far. And this is probably bingeable series they've put out so far. Something I could rewatch with no problem. So what did you think of this episode? Were there any Easter eggs I might have missed? Because honestly, I did not see much other than talking about the Marvel characters they introduced. What else did you think about this episode? I want to know. I want to make this a conversation, so make sure you comment. And if you like content just like this, hit the subscribe button, because I will be doing these weekly. And then for Marvel, DC, anime, stuff like that, I'll be making more long-form videos as we go on. So make sure you're following to stay up to date with the videos on that. I have other socials, so don't forget to check those out. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.